Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and I guess we're doing this the third time. This is the third video in one day. I haven't done this very often. Don't do this very often at all. And I apologize to everybody who's watching these that these may probably feel rushed, because they are. And I really wanted to do episode-to-episode reviews, so damn you Hulu for making me watch three episodes. But it was my choice. So we're doing it one more time for the sweet souvenir. Here, we're going to be talking about Y the Last Man, Season 1, Episode 3. They always drop 3. And, I honestly don't mind it, because usually the first 3 episodes are kind of like that good jumping off point. You get 3 episodes, and they did that with The Boys, I think, too. And that was on Prime. And they do get you, like, hooked in where you are. Here's the players, where we're going. And it doesn't give you too much, but it gives you just enough, especially, like, for a new series, to really get you to, like, go, okay, I wouldn't watch this if if I had to keep waiting week to week. But those 3 episodes, you're going to know in 3 episodes if you want to watch a show like this or not. So we're talking about Season 1, Episode 3. It's called Neil. Full spoilers. If you're liking what we're doing here on the channel, please become a subscriber to the channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. How you doing? And yeah, hopefully knowing that these are out on Monday, one at a time, these will be much more structured, a little less, oh my god, I got to get this done kind of feeling. And so, thanks again for anybody who chooses to watch these. And today we're going to try something a little different, like I've done on other things. We're going to break it down by, like, what's going on. And this I wrote more on this than any other episode that they had, because this one is jam-packed with a lot of stuff. And we're going to cover Nora's story first, just because there's just not much here. They just want to, she's still where she's at. She tried to get into the White, where everybody else is in Washington. She's turned away, forced to go back home, where we find out what their living situation is for these people out there in suburbia. They don't have power. They're running out of food. Pretty soon they're not going to have water. And it ties into what Jennifer's trying to do as the president, and trying to get finding people to turn the power back on, to get the public works going, to start to get things back to a new normal, and just getting their feet back under themselves so that they can start to breathe, and then, start to train people and how to do all these jobs. Because, that's one of the hard parts about this, right, is, maybe this is some people's wet dream, losing all the men. But when you lose a whole giant chunk of the workforce that you count on for, water, power, all this stuff, you're going to be playing catch up. And Jennifer and the rest of her cabinet are trying their hardest to find people to fill those roles to varying degrees of success. But what we see with Nora is, right, she went out, she thought she'd be able to get answers for the people, and when she comes back, she finds out that not only did she fail in what she wanted to do, but now she's being left out in the cold by the mothers that have somewhere to go. They're leaving her behind, and it's like that nice way of doing it where everybody has a contribution to the conversation of, oh, well, we need this and only so many of this and la la la, and they don't actually come out and say you can't come, but they're saying you can't come. And things get worse when they go back home and her daughter stabs herself trying to shoo the crows away from the bodies of her brother and her father. And that was a serious looking wound. And she's like, did you get your tetanus shots like the last time? But they don't even know. And so she tries to bury the bodies, right? I love, she's like, fuck you, crows. Now, I like a lot about this episode. But, and I've been, gushing and everything, but let's face it. If a vulture just lands, a vulture, maybe they're just so happy that there's a smorgasbord of food everywhere, but I have never known, and I live out in the country where there's lots of turkey vultures. Those suckers are skittish as hell, and they don't just land next to you and be like, hey, what's up? You gonna eat that? No. All right. I was just hoping that she was going to take a swing at it with the shovel, but she doesn't. In fact, she just leaves everything there. So I don't even think she buried her husband. I think she just saw the vultures and was like, well, time to go. So she gets in her car with her daughter where there is a radio station, which gives them a bit of hope right before the power cuts back out again. So for poor Nora, it's still raining shit pretty hard. Now, the rest of this is all Jennifer, Yorick, 355, Kimberly, and we have to deal with the pilots first, right? And that 355 is in this room, cool, calm, collected, as always. And they're freaking out. They saw a man. And now it's starting to sound like, there's a conspiracy here. And it just so happens to be the new president's son. I love how 355 is just so unflappable about all of this and everything. Like, she's so well trained. But she gets called away because Yorick wakes up and is looking for ampersand. And he opens the door and ampersand runs out. Okay, so here's my problem. How many times are they going to pull that? Okay, I don't remember that happening to this degree. It's already happened twice, and one in episode 2, now in episode 3. Look, the monkey's great and all, right? But it just running away so that Yorick almost gets caught, in this case, does get caught, and they have to create a fiction that is not going to last. And I'm hoping that they end this, gotta chase the monkey, put myself in a bad situation. Like, let's end that. Let's put a moratorium on chasing the monkey around starting now. Because that's already old and we're only 3 episodes in. But I do just love, though, that it does still represent, like, how much of just a regular guy Yorick is. Like I said in the first episode, he's a bit of a dumbass. And I'm not saying I don't like him. He's got a lot of good qualities. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of a young me. In the way he talks and takes things, just like loose. Like in this whole thing, he doesn't really give too much away unless you talk to him or press him. He's like, yeah, he's got gallows humor down and everything like that. He just wants to find his girlfriend. He doesn't want any responsibility. Doesn't want anything to do with this. He just wants to get on with his life. He's that guy. He just kind of like, somebody else, anybody else. He's the guy that you... I'm surprised that he even really wants a relationship, and make a commitment to somebody, because he sure doesn't want to make any commitments to anything else in his life. But now that he's there and everything, well, he runs after ampersand, and I think it's Mallory is her name, the former first lady. Well, she took time out of watching MASH and drinking to chase who she sees. She hears a man's voice and she chases it until finally she sees Yorick and he dips. At the same time, Jennifer and 355 come in and they're like, honey, what are you talking about? You saw a man? What? No, you didn't see anything, Well, we know how that's going to roll, right? Because her daughter's Kimberly, and they should have just named her Karen. You should have just named her Karen. Look, would have been I guess that would have just been too on the nose. But, so it's pointed out to Jennifer that from 355 that the pilots are going to be a problem. And as soon as she said that, I started the clock. What clock, you may ask? Well, the clock on those pilots' lives. and because 355 does not fuck around. Now, am I saying it's right? No. No, it's not right. But she's in the business of protecting the president's interests. She's in the business of protecting what needs to happen. And we could already tell that those pilots are just waiting for their chance. Even if they don't plan on or intend to do something, it feels like they're the kind of characters that are going to pretty quickly give up the goods. So there's a clock going on their lives. Like as soon as she said that there's we need to talk about the pilots. Also, Yorick lies to his mom. Like, he's only been there for less than 24 hours and he already lies to his mom about getting engaged. We also find out what the Russian problem was, right? And I love this. This is just so funny because, they're like, if something gets out, we could have a Russia problem. The Russia problem is that they, after all this went down, they didn't want to admit how bad things were. And they were lying and said, oh no, all our political people, the 12 survivors of the cabinet, they're all good. Well, people didn't believe it, and they rushed the place and found out it was bullshit. And so, those, I think that might even have been in the book. I love the my mom won the apocalypse, and she's not even Republican. And this is where we find out about the succession thing. That it would have been Secretary Abbott, but she was born in Antigua, and there was a woman named Regina Oliver that was going to be the next in line, but they consider her dead, that she died, and that she was anti-immigrant, government, vaccinations, so a trifecta of awesome. To some people, that's a trifecta of awesome. I call it the holy trinity of fucking nutso. But anyway, Jennifer is now speaker and the president. And, they find out that people are leaving, like, nobody can find everybody. Everybody's just kind of disappearing. And it would be a real easy time for people to just dip out. But they're trying to find the right people to keep the lights going, literally. And so now it's a matter of reining everybody in and tracking everybody down that is qualified to help keep the power going or get it restarted, all that business. Now, meanwhile, 355 tells Jennifer straight up, like, you can't keep Yorick here. This secret is going to be damaging to you. It's going to be damaging to the country. You can't protect him here. There's going to be too many people that want him. And that you need to use me because that's what I'm here for. And boy, oh boy, is she good at her job. Now we cut to Tel Aviv. Again, now Israel plays a nice big part of the comic book. Tel Aviv and Israel, they've got their whole other thing going, and this is just the beginning taste of this, where we meet Alma. But we also find out that in this triage that Alma's working at in Tel Aviv, well, there's Regina, and she's not dead. And boy, oh boy, after she finds out that all the men are dead, she does seem just a little bit chippier, a little more. There's a look, same as I see on Kimberly's face a few times in both episode 2 and 3. When she says that I'm the president, she's like, I would like more water, please. And there's like an already like a tone to her voice. Where now she realizes she's probably got some power coming to her. And that brings up right away, here comes Kimberly. The person who's like looking and sneaking and spying and, oh, I'm sorry. Was there a breakthrough I thought maybe, because you worked for my daddy that you would know, like, is there kind of, she's standing there looking for fucking information. She is snooping around, and Amber Tamblyn is great in this role because I already can't stand her. And I can't stand her for all the right reasons. She is playing a 10th, like I almost used a Dungeons and Dragons or like reference, like she's a 10th level Karen. But boy, oh boy, she's like trying to get 355 to give up information. Say, hey, come play cards with us. But she's all about taking power for herself. She's seeing, my daddy's dead. These people don't hold our values, which we all know what that means, right? When somebody has to scream about their values, we know what that means. And if you don't know what that means, then look it up. I don't know. You can't look it up, right? I don't know. I'd have to question your intelligence a little bit, but that's just me. Because they're like, when my daddy was president, it meant that they chose our values. But really, she steals crayons from the girl just because she, can. Because she said no, because she wouldn't help her, because she just wants to move on with her life. And Kimberly's, she wants to fill a power vacuum. She wants to know that when things start to get rolling again, that her way of life still keeps going. And what's that way of life? Well, I'm sorry, it's just not a way of life I agree with. If you agree with it, we probably wouldn't be friends in real life. All right. Wow, I'm getting really real again as usual. So we finally get the first mention of Allison Mann from the comics, the doctor in Harvard that they think can help figure this out and maybe find a cure. And I like that they're like, she was allegedly working with taking grant money from the Saudis, and they're like, but she was proven that she wasn't doing that, right? And she's like, no, she totally did. She totally did. But the reason she's good for this is because she doesn't give a shit about the politics. She only cares about the work. She doesn't care about everybody's agendas and things like that. She just wants the work. Now, Yorick is given the options like, well, what do you want to do? And he's like, I just want to fly in Beth. And he is like that in the book. He is. He's like, I don't want this. I don't want the responsibility. We've gone over this. He finally has to relent, because if he stays there, his mother, himself, everything is in danger. But again, he's just the guy who really doesn't want a part of any of this. And that he's not cut out for this. That someone else had to have survived. Somebody better. Now, they find out that Regina is alive. And I love that. Is everything okay? That you can't throw out the Constitution just because you can. And that's true. But they also have that argument about, the former president and how he brought her in because he needed the votes that would after bringing her in, that would get him the presidency. And they just come right out and say it, and I fucking love it. They're like, you couldn't win without the racists. That is something that nobody has been saying about the former president and about all the people that were elected in the last Senate elections and House elections, and is all these people who are running in the Republican Party are gunning for the racist vote. They can't win without getting the racist vote. And I'm just so happy that somebody finally, even if it's on a show, says it out. The term Jesus wasn't vaccinated is something apparently Regina believes in. But they say that if there's a united front, that she'll fall in line. Yeah, that's more than mildly optimistic. That's downright foolhardy thinking, that you think that the people that think like this are just going to roll over. And the one thing that I'll give that side of things is that They're tenacious, and they don't roll over. And I've always said you got to be just as tenacious to fight that kind of insanity. Because here comes Kim and her army of Karens. You can even hear the heels clickety-clacking against the tile floor. Our values matter. Like, what were they going to do? What was the plan there? Like, take off their shoes and try to stab people with their fucking 6-inch stilettos? I don't know. But they have to get to Harvard. They have to talk to the pilots. They have to get Yorick out of there. So she talks to the pilots. 355 talks to the pilots. They get these medals. It's like, all right. And hey, man, you know, you're getting asked by the president to help get her son out of here. You know? And they agree. They agree. And there's a tearful goodbye, and 355 tells Jennifer, I'm sure your son is safe. And I'll keep him secure. And she gets a secure channel as they leave. Now, Jennifer's last bit in this is convincing Sharon Jacobs, somebody who can help run a power plant, to get it around. And again, this is pretty cliche. The speech to the person who's like, I won't do it. I can't do it. I lost my family and I just can't go on, and I can't help you. You have to find somebody else in that. It's like the negotiation in a hostage situation scene in a movie, you know, where it's like you're trying to find some way to reach somebody that they'll suddenly go, oh, you're right. That's this scene. You can't get away from all the cliches. Sometimes the cliches are necessary to move a plot along and to get people in there. You know, I mean, she could have just said yes, which would have been nice. Then we don't have to have scenes like this in shows where they just go, oh, you're going to give me for my job? Great. But she agrees. And, you know, and it's a pretty good victory, but it's going to be a short-lived victory because here comes Kim again, standing there. And again, Amber Tam was great in this. But sitting there talking about grief is funny. And it's just, she goes this long roundabout way, talking about all the memories of this person and that person, and remember Yorick and all this. And isn't it funny that of all the people my mom could have conjured up when you found her, she could have saw my dad or Harry Connick Jr. She sees your son. And she's holding her hand all close, and I'm just like, oh, God. But the very end of this is where I'm like, this is the Y the last man that I remember. And that's, they sneak Yorick out of the place with the bodies because it's the only way to get him out without being checked too securely. The pilots drive them out of there. There's 2 helicopters. 355 is going to fly one with Yorick, and the other 2 are going to be along in another helicopter. And it's all good. They're flying off into the sunset. Until the other chopper with the pilots that were a problem, and that clock that was ticking suddenly stops because the helicopter starts on fire and it crashes and explodes. And the whole time 355 is just staring at the camera, and like, you know, at the, you know, the shot of her is just like this. Like, just bam, 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 and they're playing the music in the background. Yorick's like, what happened? She's like, I have no idea, but it doesn't matter. We have to keep going. And she's like, you know, she doesn't know what happened, but we know what happened. She saw the problem, and she fixed it, and she killed those 2 people. And like I said, it's not right. It's not a good thing that she did. At all. She did know that there was going to be a security issue here, and she took care of it. Now, I'm not going to I can't 100% be behind it, but I love seeing characters just be that I don't know what the word that I'm looking for is for what 355 is, but I love this character, and I love seeing her do what she does. Good or bad, she is a serious person, and I like that a lot. So, that is Neil. I don't even know where the Neil was in this Why it's called Neil? Somebody tell me in the comment section why this is Neil. Anyway, though, that's the end. I need to eat dinner. I've been recording all day, and I have not eaten or gone to the washroom. Too much information with Rob. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, we will be back next Monday for only one review, thank God, as we'll be talking about episode 4 next week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you with more Y, the Last Man. Bye.